What is up, guys? It is Saturday morning, 6:18 a.m., and today we're doing a revisit of one of my favorite shoes, if not my number one favorite shoe of 2024, the Hoka Skyward X. Now, I know it's only August 17th, according to the watch. Well, it is August 17th, according to the watch, and because that's the actual date. Watch don't lie, bro. I know it's only August, but I'm comfortable saying this is my favorite shoe of the year because I don't think there's anything else that's going to knock it off the perch. It also just perfectly encapsulates everything that I love about running shoes in 2024, and that's why we're revisiting it today. It's got the maximum cush, and this was the Max Cushion Gang Week. It's got the bounce. You can run fast in it. You can run slow in it. It's a high mileage behemoth, and you guys know I like cranking out miles in comfort, and that's what this thing does. So let's get into it.
All right, what is up, guys? Before we get into it today, I wanted to let you all know about the launch of the Supwell app. So the Supwell app is our community for hobby joggers. We have a few different things in there. We have the forums where you can ask and answer questions about training and running shoes. We've already got some great discussion going on about what's the best way to approach the long run during the summer. We got our friend Andrew, the midlife runner, midlife wanka, is in there answering some questions. And then we also have the buy, sell, trade marketplace. There's a lot of good inventory going up just in the first few days here, like a size 10 Saucony Endorphin Elite for about $160, I believe. And there's also a Super Blast. My friend Brian Smith put a Super Blast for sale, $160 for a size 10.5 US men's. Actually, my size. I do have the Super Blast 2 coming in. Otherwise, I might have to give that one a shot. And then we also had a more V5 with I think about 30 miles on it, fewer, size 9.5 on the app. So there's a lot of good stuff. It is $1 per month. You get access to both the community and the buy, sell, trade marketplace. For now, I am keeping it paywalled, and I've gotten some questions around why is the marketplace paywalled. I know we want to see the inventory. Some people are asking, can we make it free to browse the inventory? Right now, I'm going... That was a legit Bentley. Right now, we are going to keep the paywall. We're keeping it because my intention is to make this a community space. $1 a month, you join the community, you get access to the forums, and you get access to the marketplace. It's like Costco, right? You pay the membership, and then you get access to a bunch of cool discounted stuff. I'm also going to work on a way to make some sort of potential directory available so that you can see maybe some of the inventory without signing up. But right now, $1 per month, you get access to the community, you get access to the forums, you get access to the marketplace. Supwell app, it is in the description below. It's hosted on a platform called Circle, so you sign up through the link, then you download the Circle app, you log in, and you get access to all that good stuff for just $1 a month. It is $1 a month, and it's just me, guys. I know people don't necessarily care, and I don't think you should care because I'm trying to provide you a service. It doesn't matter who it is, but it's all just me. I don't have a team. I don't have developers. I've built everything myself. I've figured out how to do it, hacked it together, and we're gonna give it a old college try and see if we can build a fun community space for hobby joggers. So with that, guys, let us get into today's video.
So Hoka Skyward X here. The reason why I wanted to revisit it is because there's been a few shoes that have come out recently that have rivaled this, not necessarily in my enjoyment, but in spirit. You've had the Neo Vista. We also had the Prime X Strong, which I just bought. It's not necessarily a new shoe rivaling this. And then we also had the Puma MagMax Nitro. Let me go grab those. So Neo Vista, I ran in on Monday. This is a lot lighter than the Skyward X. I did a tempo style run in this, so I got down to 550, 6 flat pace. It felt okay. For me, it wasn't as bouncy as the Skyward X. It had a nice rocker. It had a nice smooth foam, but it didn't give me that pop off that I got from the Skyward X. The thing is, it is a lot lighter, so easier to turn over the legs at some points of that run. I've actually never done a tempo run as fast as I did in the Neo Vista. So this thing can perform, and it's not a complete dud. It just isn't as enjoyable for me as the Skyward X. Now, the other shoe that I ran in recently is the MagMax Nitro. Now, this is very similar to the Skyward X, except difference here is 100% of this Nitro foam. Someone actually told me that this is the last generation Nitro Elite foam. So this used to be a race foam, and then Puma got the new race foam. So now this is just the training foam. Either way, the foam is bouncy. It's about as heavy as the Skyward X. You have about the same amount of foam, but no plate, and it's a solid shoe. However, at some times, I felt like I was almost that fighting against the foam feeling that I got on the Super Blast, and I'm wondering if the difference is in the Skyward X, the plate, because it stabilizes the midsole, prevents that from happening. So all of these competitors that have come in, none of them have really been able to match the Skyward X for me. And the reason it's been so great is rocker geometry. It's got this really nice curve to it for me. You have the two types of foam. So one of the foams back here is providing stability, and then you have the race foam on top for a lot of pop. And then you get the carbon fiber plate again, which helps stabilize that foam. It helps reinforce that rocker. And if you just look at how deep this plate is in here, this is a huge stack of foam. And I think maybe because of the plate is a little bit closer to the foot, I don't get that feeling of the foam is too squishy, because a lot of these 50 millimeter shoes, or 45 plus, MagMax, Neo Vista, Super Blast, the foam doesn't quite hit for me at every pace. It seems like at slower paces, I just can't. And slower paces for me are around 8 minutes per mile. At those paces, I just can't get it going. I never had that issue with this shoe, and it also doesn't force me to go too fast. So my philosophy about picking training shoes, and especially if I'm going to spend over $200 on a training shoe, this shoe's over $200. That shoe right there, Hyper, is over $200. The Balos is over $200. I want some versatility. And I think this, the Hyper, and the Balos, all three of those are actually probably some of the best shoes on the market and justify their price point by giving that versatility. And that's one of my issues with the Neo Vista. That's only $180, but still. And the Super Blast is, they felt to me more like specialized shoes. And that's the other thing about the Neo Vista versus the Skyward X. If you take a look at the back here, the Mizuno does this with a lot of their shoes. They have a cutout right here, so you can't really land in the back if you're more of a heel striker. So two different shoes here. This is not a head-to-head comparison video, but I will say a lot of people are saying that they do like the Neo Vista. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. If you go watch my review the other day, you can go read the comments, and there are some people who really enjoy the shoe. I just don't love it, and the foam in it for me doesn't feel like it's as great as the other shoes on the market. Skyward X, on the other hand, two of the best foams in here. Hoka's done a really nice job with their foams. They're not, I don't know, there's nothing crazy about them. It's just supercritical EVA, ethylene vinyl acetate. Gotta say, put some respect on the ethylene vinyl acetate. But it's a supercritical EVA, which is in the Mach 6. And then you have the race foam, the polyether block amide. They're just two solid foams, nice bounce, nice squish. They get the job done, and they work really well for me. And this is a shoe that I've recommended to a lot of bigger runners as well. So if you run with a little bit more power, and so I'm 6'2", I'm putting down some 6 flat paces, 6:37 paces. That's a little bit more force going down into the shoe than someone with a low or a higher cadence who's smaller. And this shoe really stands up to that well. And again, I've recommended this to a lot of bigger runners, and they love it. So for me, that's why this is one of my favorite shoes of the year. It has the support, it has the comfort, it has the fun, it has the versatility. It can do everything. And I feel a little bit weird saying a $225 shoe is my favorite shoe, but it's $225 because they engineered it to be great, right? Now, before we lace this up, I do want to give a shout out to, hold on. Boom. Adidas Adizero SL2. This is probably my other favorite shoe of 2024. This, the 860, and the Skyward X are probably top 3 when it comes to training shoes. This is also a very versatile shoe. It's $130, and you get 2 types of foams, like in the Skyward X, more of a training foam and the racing foam, and you get a crazy bounce, and it's a lot lighter than the Skyward X. So also an awesome shoe that's not $225. Just wanted to give this one a little shout out. I actually just put up a pair of these on the marketplace. Go ahead and check out the Supwell used shoe marketplace. The link is below. I've gotten some requests, by the way, to make the marketplace viewable for people who are not willing to pay $1 to view inventory. So I think I'm going to work on that to try to let people see. Some people weren't very nice. They said it was going to fail if I didn't do that. So I think I'm going to work on it. I wish people would be a little bit nicer, but that's the internet. Lacing up the Skyward X here. Very comfortable upper. This tongue is nice and padded, and that's one of the things that I've always said about the Skyward X. It's a heavy shoe, but they didn't try to do any trickeration to pretend it's a light shoe. They didn't try to give you a thin race tongue just to save a little bit of weight. They said, no, we know that this is a heavy shoe. So on foot, this is very cushioned. A little walk test here. It is a comfortable shoe. A few people have asked me whether this would be a walking shoe, and I think someone actually told me they got this for a walking shoe. This is pretty overkill for me. I would not walk in this. I wouldn't really walk in any shoe with a plate. Also, just thinking about the price, $225. It has a lot of technology in it that it's designed really for running. So if you like the way it looks, you could walk in it, but there's just much better options out there. The new Skyflow from Hoka, I haven't tested that yet, but if you want a max stack shoe from them, that would probably be the one to get. Or even the Bandai. This is just, I don't know, it's comfortable, but I just feel weird about walking in a carbon plate shoe. It just seems like overkill to me. But I guess if you want to be cutting all those lines at Disney, just bang, 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 you're going to be speeding around in these. Yeah, it is so comfortable that you could walk in. I guess that's just me. There's no reason you couldn't walk in it. I just feel really weird. I just don't walk in plated shoes. But Ghost Max 1, that is $120, and you can walk in that. What else? Saucony Hurricane 24. And if you want a super max stack shoe to walk in, I guess I would go MagMax Nitro now, because there's no plate. I actually feel, I don't know. So I was walking around the SC Trainer V3 a lot when I was at the running warehouse thing, just because I just actually thought I was going to run one day in the afternoon, and I couldn't take 2 shoes with me back to their office. So I just put on the running warehouse, the SC Trainer shoes as we took the bus back to the running warehouse, and then I had them on my feet for the rest of the day. By the end of that day, I could feel the plate, and I did feel like maybe the shoes were just not as comfortable as other shoes that didn't have the plate. So I don't recommend walking in plated shoes. This section is going on way too long, but it is a comfortable shoe. A touch snug maybe, but I haven't really had any issues once I get going. But lacing it up here, touch snug, it fits true to size. The length is great, and they do have some other colorways now other than this white, red, and blue. I think they have a yellow. And then, yeah, Running Warehouse actually just dropped a silver and blue. That's pretty clean. So, lots of good options out there. Let's go take these for a run. Oh, man, yeah, running in the Skyward X, man. The bounce on this thing is just
so good. And this is the difference between this shoe and all those other shoes that we've tried this year. MagMax Nitro, Neo Vista, Super Blast. This is one of those shoes where I don't have to think. I just run and it bounces me along. I don't think about the weight of this when it's on my foot. I don't think about if I'm compressing the foam enough. I just go. And I do think the carbon plate in here, for me, is helping a lot. It almost counteracts the weight because it provides more rigidity in there versus the MagMax. That was heavy, but my foot was just sinking into that foam. So plan for this run, just a nice little 4-mile recovery run. Enjoy the beautiful sunrise. And enjoy a very short run before our long run behemoth of a mileage fest tomorrow. Look at that, man. It's mornings like this that make me want to upgrade the GoPro and properly capture this sunrise. I know, that's pretty good though. All right, mile 1, 7:57, and the balance on this is just in another level for me, another category by itself. When it comes to training shoes, it's not even close. Neo Vista, mid. Super Blast, super trash. MagMax, more testing coming soon. That thing is like pudding compared to this. This is just perfect for me. Absolutely perfect. Because it is a touch firmer, it just works better for my stride and running style. And that race foam just pops me right along. It's just unmatched. I'm glad I came back to it because it still is as good as I remember, if not even made better by all the pretenders who tried to step up. There's only one Arthur though. There's only one shoe that can yank the sword from the stone. We just have to learn as we go. See, here's the thing, if you point the camera down, the processing on it doesn't pick up the sky. You have to point it up, and then that's when you get all the nice texture. We learn by doing. You're not gonna learn that sitting behind the computer, Googling stuff, watching Cartoon Network. You gotta get outside, get active. Look at that, bang, point it up. You get some nice contrast with the pine trees. All right, coming up on mile 2 here. This is almost the perfect recovery run shoe. So much cushion, so much bounce. The roll just makes it easy to go along. And I don't get that stuck in mud feeling that I can get with some other max cushion shoes. It's just perfect for some Saturday morning ASMR. Mile 3 here. We had a good hard week of strong running, so legs are feeling it. They're gonna be feeling it tomorrow on that long run. But this is the type of shoe that for these days, this is exactly what I want. Just makes it easy to take them over, pitter better. That was a 738, so it is giving me a little bit more pop than I would have thought. Man, this is a great shoe to put on if you want a shoe to do the work of running for you, so you can think about ways to improve the business operation. So we're doing this morning, scheming up, trying to make things better. This is just running for me. This gives me so much assistance, so much bounce, so much comfort. And then it's wide enough so that stability is not an issue at all. I really have no complaints with this shoe. This is as close to a perfect shoe for me as it could get. The only frontier would be weight. Right, and there's no bad part really about the weight of this shoe. It's just over the course of a 20-mile long run, that would add up, and that would make the shoe even better. But you are getting the density of the foam and the impact protection. And I have a hunch the tricky part about lightening up foams is that they're not going to be as protective, and that's why we haven't seen it trickle down. I'm guessing that's what's the last little hang up on how do we make foams lighter. But yeah, this is still a complete bangarooski. My legs are toast. My legs are complete toast. Tune in for the long run tomorrow. That's gonna be fun. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, hills are the best way to tell how much power you have. I have no power. Tried to give it the gas up this hill. 0 to 60 in 11.5. We're gonna make a lot of transactions on the Supwell app today. Look at that. That's an omen. It's foretelling. It's foretelling. Putting in work out here on the wall. Putting in work on the wall. Let's go. All right, what do we get? Bang. No coffee. I don't even know if I had a sip of water. Just straight to the email and Supwell app. Checking out everything going on. I don't think I had a sip of water. That's not good. I do not advise that. 4 miles, 0.16 miles, 7:43 pace, 32 minutes and 5 seconds.
This is as close to a perfect shoe, at least training shoe, as it could get for me. This is still as good as beginning of the year. There's been some shoes that I've revisited, like the Rebel V4, that have started to just slowly fall down the rankings as more shoes come out, as Mach 6, SL2, Hyperion 2, as those dropped, the Rebel V4 started falling down on my favorites list. Still a good shoe, but I'd take probably Mach 6, SL2 over it. And there's other shoes like this, where, man, just as good. Just as good as that. I think the next one that's due for a revisit is probably Diodora Gara. I had a similar feeling about that shoe where it was just, now they're very different underfoot sensations. This is a little bit firmer, more structured. That's softer. That's the race shoe, but that one just flinging me along, super easy to run. And I got to see if that stands up to some of these newer shoes that have been released. But alrighty, let us do the breakdown.
Even the lighting is perfect this morning. The lighting is perfect to get some glamour shots of the Skyward X. Look at that. Bang. Big stack. Bang. Green midsole that doesn't match with the rest of the colorway. Bang. Little medial side shot. Bang. Top view. Bang. Heel counter. Bang. That's the name of the shoe. If people ask why do I look around? I'm out here yelling bang, flipping and ripping shoes, man. It's a weird thing to do. Saturday morning at 7:18 a.m. Hoka Skyward X, 4 miles, recovery run, reacquaintance run, revisiting, trying to see does the shoe just live up to what's in my head. Because sometimes with these shoes we can hype them up, and I think that's actually what happened with the Nike Pegasus Turbo 2 for a lot of people, with how bad, I never tried the Next Nature, but how disappointing some of the other Nike shoes are. In the past few years, people look back on the Peg Turbo 2 and say it's the best training shoe of all time. And maybe it was, but there's just this phenomenon where we hype up things from the past because our memories of them outlive the actual product, right? We think the shoe's so good, but this is a case where that's not true, and luckily I only had 100 miles on the shoe, so it's still in its prime. It's not beaten down yet, and this is still just as good at the beginning of the year, and it's not an old shoe like the Peg Turbo 2. It's just with all these shoes coming out and with how I've been testing a lot of the shoes that have been coming out, how many requests I've gotten to test these new shoes, I don't always reach back for stuff that even came out 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago because we're always testing new stuff. But this can 100% stand up to everything that's come out in the past 6 months. It could also stand up to anything that I've ever tried. This is a truly special shoe. I said this in my 100-mile review. This is a top 5 all-time running shoe for me. And if we take out any of the sentimental aspects of I like this shoe because Charlie gave it to me to reinvigorate my love of running, that was actually the On Cloud Stratus 2. I wasn't running a lot, and then she gave me that for Christmas 2 or 3 years ago, and I got back on it. And that just sparks. Sometimes a good pair of shoes can do that. If we take away those things, or take away the Ultra Boost that I put 700 miles on as one of my first pairs of running shoes, or the Epic React, which was, I think, actually my first pair of running shoes, or the Nike Free Run, and I had 2 pairs of those. I used them in high school. I took them to Peru on one of those trips we went to with my high school. And if we take away all of the sentimental, emotional shoes that I've gone through in my life and that I have attachments to, there's no emotional attachment to this shoe. It was sent to me by Hoka for testing. I don't really, it looks really weird. My wife didn't give it to me. I didn't take it to Peru. If we take away all that, this might be my favorite running shoe of all time, and that is purely based on the ride experience. The ride experience on this for me is transcendent. Let me tell you why. It escapes the trade-offs that I always talk about on this channel. Typically, more stability means less fun, because when a foam is more stable, it's not as squishy. It doesn't have as much of that excitement. Look at a shoe like the Balos or the Invincible. very fun shoes. And in the case of the Balos, they found a way to tame the race foam by blending it in with a training foam. Again, escaping some of those trade-offs, but it's still a much more unstable shoe compared to this. Same thing with the Invincible. That foam was just so squishy and squirrely, and it gets a little bit of that, you have to fight against it because it's so soft. That doesn't happen here. It is very stable, and it's fun from the bounce. Then we think about the trade-offs of support and fun, or support and speed. This has one of the bounciest and fastest feeling midsoles out there. I can throw down some fast pace. My first run in this was actually 2 or 3 days after my marathon PR, and I was out here ripping around at a 6:30 pace in it because it just is that good. So it has the support, it has the structure, it has that built up heel, it has that stability, but because you get this gigantic stack of foam and this training foam that's so good, the supercritical EVA, it escapes some of those trade-offs where you do have the fun, you do have the bounce, but is extremely comfortable. And that's the last trade-off: comfort versus speed, or comfort versus efficiency. Typically the most efficient shoes that I can really get the legs turning over in, Meta Speeds of the world, are not the most comfortable. This is a very comfortable shoe because of the wide platform. So because this midsole is so bouncy, so lively for me, this feels like it's alive. It feels energetic, and that's because you got a huge stack of this. A huge stack of this training foam, the supercritical EVA, and then the drop-in on the inside, the top layer of PIBA. Because of these foams they've chosen, it escapes all those trade-offs. The bounce outweighs the weight, the fun outweighs the weight, and you still have that stability from the wide base. And even though you have such a wide base, it manages to be just light enough so it's not a chore to turn over, and bouncy enough so that I'm not sinking in. And this is the key thing with the MagMax Nitro. We are gonna do some more testing on that, but after the end of that first day, I felt like it was borderline too much foam, and coming back to this is making me realize I think that's probably too much foam for me in that application without a plate for running. For walking, I think it'll probably be okay, but once we started getting out there and running, felt like I was just fighting against it. I was not getting that in this. So you get the beautiful smooth roll, you get the bounce off the forefoot. It can handle any pace for me. I can run recovery in this, I can run daily miles in this. One of the most fun shoes of the year. Only downsides for me are really price, and I think that's it. $225. I feel a little bit weird running in a shoe like this every day. Even something like the Cloud Monster Hyper, I would feel more comfortable running in that every day. Again, it goes up to what I was talking about up there about the walking in the carbon plates. I love carbon plates. I don't love carbon plates. I love the types of shoes that carbon plates are typically in. I love Max Stack. I am Max Cushion Gang. I don't even need to say it. You guys know at this point. I like the foams. I like the modern technology, but something about it does feel a little bit odd. Just thinking common sense. I'm not even talking about datas or studies. Common sense to me suggests that I shouldn't run in a shoe like this every day. So that's my one downside thinking about it as a reviewer recommending this. If you're gonna buy just one shoe, I wouldn't recommend this. I would recommend something without a plate. If you want to spend $200, I'd probably recommend the Hyper over this. Not that it's a better, more enjoyable shoe than this. It's just, again, I don't feel comfortable running in plated shoes every single day of the week. So if you have another shoe, something like the Nike Pegasus or even the Mach 6, there are other fun shoes out there, or even the New Balance 1080 V13, and you rotate it with this, I would feel comfortable with that for myself personally. And the studies do suggest that rotating through different shoes is a good thing to do to prevent injury. So that's really the only downside. $225 for one training shoe is expensive. I don't love saying that this is my favorite shoe of all time just because the price tag. It feels weird to say that, but there's a reason that these shoes are so expensive. They are the best. They have the best technology. They have the most foam in them. They have the best technology, and this is the case where it really does warrant the price for me. Hyper, I think, is probably a little bit overpriced at that $220, and especially comparing it to their race shoe, the Cloud Boom Strike. I keep calling it the Echo, and I don't know why they didn't just make the Strike the Echo 4. Anyway, after trying the Cloud Boom Strike, the Hyper really was even more disappointing to me because that shoe was so good. The Peebo was so good. It was a completely different foam in the Strike than the Hyper, and they were just not on the same level. Strike is one of the best race shoes I've tried. Hyper is good. It's solid. I like it, but it's not as good as something like the Skyward X. So if you are looking for the most protection out there, the most support, the most bounce, I would highly recommend this. I do think it's a little bit of that, I almost want to say Rorschach test, but if you consider yourself a bigger runner, I think you might like this a little bit more than others who are lighter on their feet. And that is the data I've gotten so far, except I did see one review out there from a lighter runner who is running my paces and a little bit faster, and he loved it. So if you are lighter on your feet, but running 7-minute paces every day, low 8s, doing strides at 6-minute pace, you might like this shoe more so than if you're running 10-minute, 11-minute paces and are a lot smaller than I am. I'm 6'2", 160. For context, again, I'm not going to say who's a bigger runner and who's not. You got to self-identify, and also based on the shoes that work for you, right? If you found shoes like the 1080 way too soft, then you might like the bounce of this. So Hoka Skyward X, still a complete banger. Supwell app, we are on day 3. Go and check it out. I'm going to look into a way to make the inventory viewable for people without an account who don't want to spend $1. I get you. I told you yesterday the IRS is stealing more than that out of your bank account probably every day without you knowing, but I understand. It's psychology. It's human psychology. If you don't trust me, you don't want to spend $1. And if Young Metro don't trust you,